What's up, everybody? CaRai coming at you with another video. And today's video is going to be going over changes, some notable changes in Storm Connections that I think everyone's happy to hear about, that I think you're all going to be happy to hear about, as well as the implications of these changes on a competitive level. Now, before we get into the video, I want to thank Falco X Risen for the footage because he was at AnimeExpo and he provided a lot of this footage. And yeah, there's his name in the top left corner, and I have a link in the description to his channel. Definitely go check him out. I'm pretty sure he's going to be uploading a lot more of the stuff that he got from Storm Connections, and he's also going to be uploading Storm Connections gameplay. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, Falco X Risen is also a top player in the community. In case I didn't say that, so his gameplay is good. He's going to show you a lot of the cool stuff that you probably haven't seen from some other gameplays. So definitely check him out. He's got the stuff. With that being said, moving on to the video. So, first thing I noticed is that switching takes the whole gauge. Before in Storm 4, you would switch and it would take half of the gauge and then you could switch again. So, there's no more, the switches aren't going to be as frequent as they were in Storm 4. Not to mention that there's no more free leader switching as well. So, before in Storm 4, if you leader switch dash properly, you wouldn't lose any chakra. In fact, I have a tutorial detailing all the leader switch techniques in Storm 4 if you're interested in that, in case you want to get ready for Connections, because Connections is going to have leader switching. And if you understand the fundamentals of it, then you'll be able to apply day one in Connections just as easy. But for the most part, there's no free leader switching. Basically, no matter how you switch, no matter what the timing is, you will consume chakra. If you do leader switch jutsu, it will consume chakra. If you do leader switch dash, it will consume chakra. So there are no free leader switches in the game, as far as we know. Now, moving on to the next thing, support gauge refills much faster. So that being said, they definitely want to touch leader switch, but they were careful as to not completely remove it from the game. They don't want to make it useless. They want switch to be integrated into the game for sure, but they definitely need to touch it. And I think this is a nice medium, right? It takes your whole gauge, but it refills faster. I think that is fine. I think that is going to work out very well in competitive gameplay. And I think it's just going to work out well in general. I think that's a nice agreement. Don't completely nerf the heck out of it, but touch it. So they touched it, and they also made it to where, yes, you're still going to be able to switch, but it's more of an actual option in the game. Whereas in Storm 4, it was the game, right? At a high level. Moving on, item cooldown variation. So, as you can see, items are infinite. They are no longer limited in quantity. They are infinite, and certain items take longer to come back than other items. With that being said, tag stun is also very long. For some reason, they made it to where tag stun you for a long time. You can get another combo or an ultimate with some characters, I'm sure. So that's pretty insane. Honestly, what comes to mind with these two changes is that attack up and defense down pills or defense down item sets are going to be crazy because you're always going to have access to super easy max damage punishes in the game. You're just going to have to wait for it to cool down, but nonetheless, you're always going to be able to punish your opponent super hard if you catch them. So that's really interesting, and I'm wondering how that's going to play out in the meta, if it's going to be a staple or just whatever the case may be. Now, with that being said, bombs also don't cause strikebacks anymore. So bombs are still great get off me tools. Bombs are super amazing. Bombs are the best item in the game for sure. And with that being said, in fact, real quick, I'll actually elaborate on that. Bombs are definitely the best item in the game. I'll never forget when I was playing Generations competitively, years ago, back when Generations was in the highlight of the, competitive community. And I remember I was playing this guy, this prominent top player in the community. I'm not going to tell you his name because I don't know who's watching this video. And you might be watching this video. I'm not going to give you that because back then we were kind of enemies. But nonetheless, I remember we were talking about what the best item in the game was, and so I said, kunai bags, because I was thinking of all the cool things you could do as far as pressure and getting on the opponent. But then he was like, "Nah, dude, bombs." He said bombs decide games, and bombs are even more of an asset in Generations. So yeah, definitely he was right about that. bombs are crazy, and so them not being able to cause strikebacks in this game, I think is fine. I think that's actually the right direction for them. They're purely get off me tool. They're purely a get off me tool, and so I think that's fine. But I'm also wondering, does this mean everyone's always going to make sure they have a bomb now? Is that something that is going to be defining where now, hey, I got to make sure I have a bomb on me because I got to have a get off me option because there's so much aggression in the game. Is it going to get to a point where, hey, I've got to have something to get him off of me? I don't know, but there's a good chance that could be the case. Now, moving forward, speaking of being super aggressive and things of that nature, grabs do more damage and you can OTG off of some of them, or well, off of all of them, but obviously some characters recover, have longer recovery periods and things of that nature, so you can't combo convert off of all of them. But a character like Kakashi, who grabs you and you're up close and personal, he can OTG off of his. That's insane. It seems as if they're really trying to nerf defense in this game because defense has always been really strong in the Storm games. Super strong in the Storm games. So I like these changes a lot because before, the best grabs in the game were grabs that caused strikebacks and grabs that gave you a combo. Now, Sage Art Master Rasengan, that Naruto gave you a combo, and then there was another character that gives you a combo as well. I can't remember. I can't remember of the other character. I want to say there is another character in Storm 4, but it's not, I can't really, nothing comes to mind at this point. But then there's tons of characters that give you strikebacks off of your grab. So the fact that now there's going to be a new genre of grab that is good, I like that because I believe it's going to indirectly nerf or indirectly balance and or buff some of the other characters that really haven't gotten many changes. Kakashi didn't get that many changes, but the fact that he now has a super good grab, because this grab has always been good from a pure grab standpoint. It doesn't have the range, but the thing is, it makes up for that, and the fact that he recovers fast off of it and it comes out fast. So now that he has a really, his grab is something he can gain significant advantage off of, this character is going to be a menace. Mark my words, you guys are going to sleep on Kakashi day one. You're going to be using your Sasuke's, your Boruto's, your Kawaki's, and you're going to run across a Kakashi, and that Kakashi's going to murk you, and you're going to be peed off, and you're going to think back to this video and go, wow, yeah, CaRai said that was going to happen. So watch out for Kakashi, because Kakashi is looking low-key super, super strong. Speaking of which, going into the new round, your health completely resets, and I think this is huge. I think this was the right way to go with it because I've played so many games in Storm 4 where I kid you not, I beat the person first, and I'm gonna own up to it. We all do it, where I have the health lead and I just start slowing down the game. I start camping, I start playing really defensive, and I chip away at his health so much. And it got to a point of where I noticed if you were of similar skill levels, what would happen is that if you got that first round, because you were of similar skill levels, if the other person slowed down the game, a lot of times they would get a lot of extra credit innately just because of the nature of the game. And so it made it very difficult to come back from that first round loss sometimes because they would just incur so much of a lead. I love the fact that health bars just reset because I think it's better. I think it's better for the game. There's already so much damage being done in this game. So imagine if this game didn't reset health bars into the next round. It would have been super annoying. Imagine you're playing and you go down a round and your opponent has one health bar left and the damage is just so insane that you take so much damage naturally. It looks like you're going to take a lot of damage in this game. That would have been really annoying, so I'm glad CC2 had the foresight to say, look, let's just make this traditional, like a regular fighting game, and just have them reset. That was really smart on their part. Speaking of which, subs don't refill upon getting attacked. That is very interesting because it now means the only way to regain subs is when the gauge itself naturally refills. This is insane because now you have to be a lot careful with your subs. And because of the damage in this game, you're going to take a lot of freaking damage if you're not careful. If you just sub, if you're one of those types of people that just recklessly sub, you're going to take a lot of damage. You now have to be super careful with your subs in this game. Super careful. More careful than you've ever been before since Storm 2. Because you're going to have to wait until your subs come back naturally. And guess what? Let's say your subs are coming back and you go ahead and you sub. You sub at 2. Now you have 1. That is something that you're going to have to really think about doing because you're going to have to wait another full time limit. You're going to have to wait however long it takes for subs to come back. I don't know how long it takes exactly, but you're going to have to wait the full time limit. So this game is interesting because it's looking like punishes are going to be huge. If they touch you, it seems like openings are going to be really huge now. And they're not going to be, you're not going to live, if you're just kind of reckless, you're not going to live that long in this game because the openings are, the way they've set up the game so far is that, hey, if you're reckless, you get touched, your opponent's going to be able to do a lot of damage and you could lose the game or just get super behind in the game. But at the same time, it works both ways. You can also come back a lot better. So, yeah. Speaking of which, Awakenings are shorter now. Awakenings don't last long at all. And I'm okay with that. I don't really mind. But I think that really sucks for casuals because, you'll play your friend and be like, okay, let's go all out. And now, if you go into Awakening and you go all out, it's not going to last that long. So that kind of sucks from a casual standpoint. And not only that, you look at a character like Baryon Mode Naruto, right? The main appeal of that character is that it goes Baryon Mode. While I believe Baryon Mode should have just been its own character, at the end of the day, it's not. It's an awakening, and the fact that the awakening doesn't last long is kind of like, well, what's the appeal of the character, right? I don't feel like I'm really using Baryon Mode Naruto. I really wish they just made 2 Narutos, because why not, right? At this point, we're going to have a bunch of Sasuke and Narutos. Just make a Baryon Mode Naruto character, and then just make, a non-Baryon Mode. And we'll keep the Baryon Mode, or keep the Naruto that we have currently, but then just make a Baryon Mode. I mean, it would have been okay. I mean, who cares at this point, right? We're used to Naruto and Sasuke getting tons and tons of, just new Sasuke's and Naruto's being added. So, yeah. Moving on, guard break does not last as long. So guards break super fast in the air, probably as fast as they did in Storm 3. But with that, the guard break does not last as long. So you're still vulnerable, but the guard break doesn't last super long. And so, again, I think that CC2 just trying to make sure they hit all the right angles here with nerfing defense. Because defense has always been really strong in the game. And so sometimes it can be really hard to overcome. So they're really trying to make sure, hey, you have a lot of tools to get in on your opponent, because we know that a lot of times you just want to fight and your opponent doesn't. Speaking of which, every time you block in the air, you're vulnerable. This has been the case in all Storm games. But in this game, they've made the animation much more defined. When you fall after getting hit in the air, it is very visible that you are open. And they may have actually increased the time. I'm not really too sure. But this is actually really good because, again, it's a way to really kind of nerf blocking in the air. Now, in Storm 4, they made it to where if you just input a hard direction, left, right, up, down, and you guard, you get a guard shuffle. But the thing is that people realize, oh, if we just tilt the stick slightly, we can still guard jump. AKA hollow step, we can still guard jump. So I think this is their attempt to just say, hey, look, you can still jump in the air, but there's a lot of weaknesses here now. There's a lot of tools for your opponent to just get through that, because guard blocking was fundamentally so strong in Storm 2. It was at its strongest in Storm 2. It was strong in Generations, strong in Storm 3. And, it's just always been strong because you can move and advance while being safe. So it makes sense, but at the end of the day, CC2 is trying to crack down on that. They're really trying to make it so that, hey, you got to fight. You got to scrap. You can't sit up there and camp the whole entire game. So, I respect it. I like it. It's refreshing. It's different. I'm going to adapt and overcome it. And I hope many of you all will too. So, with that being said, I believe, yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the changes that stood out to me the most. Now, there's a slew of other changes that, I'm not really going to cover in this video. Like, for example, they've gotten a lot better with the customization. I know you guys saw at the beginning of this video that you can now choose Itachi with or without cloak, and they now have Itachi in one slot instead of having reanimated Itachi and regular Itachi. That just makes sense. There's no reason to really fill the roster up with unnecessary slots. So the roster is going to look smaller, but it actually isn't going to be smaller. And I like that. I think that that's pretty cool at the end of the day. It just makes sense. It's one of those optimal changes. And so that's just good design on CC2. I'm really glad they're cleaning up the game. That's one of the benefits of them reusing Storm 4 as its base. They get to clean up and really polish the game. And I'm glad they are actually doing that, because they could have just said, F it. You know, we're going to keep everything the same. We're going to keep following the same exact formula. But no, they're embracing change. So, yeah, we're going to do the same thing and embrace all these wonderful changes, good or bad. Let me know what you think about some of these changes. What are some changes that stood out to you, etc. And, yeah, really appreciate you all for watching. It was fun breaking this down, and can't wait to learn more about this game. I'm pretty excited to try it out and just honestly lab the game out and figure out a bunch of crazy stuff in the game. Again, I'm still day one Kawaki main. I'm coming. Look, I'm gonna fight all the I'm gonna slay all the Sasuke's for you with my Kawaki, for you guys with my Kawaki. I'm still day one Kawaki main. We still coming in clutch day one. But yeah. Anyways, with that being said, again, thank you guys for watching. Always appreciate it. CaRai out.